Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Real economy data for August analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 1BF8FB914 2022 p.m. Central Bank meeting and local macro releases are in focus this week. NBP is to keep rates unchanged. Labor market statistics for August should remain favorable, as government schemes are still in place. Industrial output to stay in positive territory in August. Watch this week. September 15 target rate to remain stable after the summer break. The MPC will likely not surprise markets and will keep the key rate stable at 0.1%. We expect the monetary policy to remain unchanged until the end of 2022, as inflation will likely stay within the target. Moreover, major central banks will also stick to a low interest rate environment for a prolonged period of time. September 16 core inflation to drop in August. NBP to buy bonds. August brought a slight easing of inflationary pressure, as headline CPI dropped to 2.9% YY from 3.0% YY in July. We expect core inflation to decrease as well, for the first time since December 2018, and land at 4.1% YY. Moreover, the NBP will hold a QE auction, but the volume will likely be low, given the limited supply of papers in recent weeks. The NBP has bought so far around PLN 103 BN 4.5% of GDP. September 17 labor market statistics for August. The situation on the labor market should remain favorable in August, as government schemes Solidarity Subsidy are still in place. Therefore, we expect the wage growth to sustain the recent growth dynamics and arrive at 3.4% YY, while employment should improve and decrease by 1.2% YY. All in all, the situation on the labor market does not look as bad as previously expected. The unemployment rate has not increased visibly so far, and, according to preliminary data from the Ministry of Labor, Family and Social Policy, it remained unchanged at 6.1% in August. September 18 industrial production to remain positive. We expect industrial production growth to land at 0.8% YY in August, somewhat below market expectations of a 3.0% YY increase. We think that the negative calendar effect 1WD might offset some of the improvement seen in sentiment indicators. Local manufacturing sentiment went up to 6.5 in August. On the other hand, the August PMI index dropped to 50.6, from the 52.8 observed in the previous month. Last week's highlights. Governor Glapinski said in an interview that interest rates are at the right level and past monetary easing prevented a more severe economic downturn. Market developments. Bond market drivers. 10Y yield moved toward 1.35% over the course of the week. The long end of the curve went down somewhat and moved toward 1.35%. However, the volatility of the 10Y yield remains limited. We have seen stronger moves on the core market, as the 10Y bond fluctuated between 0.5% and 0.42%. As a result, the spread over the 10Y bond went up marginally as well to 185 BP. Publication of local macro data might bring some optimism, but we do not expect any material change in the yield level. This week, the Minfin will hold a second switch auction in September. FX market drivers. Eurobond anchored at 4.45. The zloty depreciated at the start of September and moved toward 4.45 versus the euro, where it remained locked over the course of the last week. US dollar development remains the key driver for the zloty, and with stabilization of the eurist at around 1.18, the volatility of the zloty also decreased. This week, the most important event for the eurist should be the US Fed's FOMC meeting. Any change of monetary policy is highly unlikely, but the FOMC could become more specific on the outlook for interest rate hikes and asset purchases. In addition, FOMC members' expectations for the most important macro variables for the coming years will be updated. Should the US dollar remain broadly unchanged, the zloty will stay around 4.45 versus the euro. Download the full weekly Focus Poland. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me mt5.expert.advisors.